Hi and welcome to my channel. Now today's video is on these Ditton 120 speakers. They may look like Ditton 15s at first glance, but these are a smaller version of the Ditton 15s, shall we say. With the Ditton 15s, I've done a couple of reviews. I had the Ditton 15s normal and the Ditton 15s XRs, and I've actually had a couple of different pairs of Ditton 15s. Just bought another pair so cheap it was unbelievable, just to make sure I kind of got what I thought the original ones sounded like I did on the channel. I'll put a link up to that description of my idea, or that review, whatever you want to call it, of them Ditton 15s. That's only my personal opinion. Like anything else, a lot of people like these Ditton 15s, there's a lot of people sought after them, like that kind of sound. They work really for me, really, but again, that's my personal taste, shall we say. These are a smaller version of the 15s. They look quite nice, they look quite cute. They're quite tactile, they're quite a speaker you could fall in love with really easy, and I didn't pay a lot for these. I found these in a little shop as I was walking around, pretty local to me, about 6 miles down the road. I popped in, I've only been in the shop twice, and first time he sold some records as well, this bloke. He didn't have anything there I was interested in. This time I went in there, he had a couple of bits I may have been interested, but I plumped for these because I didn't. The car was parked miles away and I didn't want to carry too much back, and these are quite heavy really for what they are. So I had these on the floor. He had his tea and his cup and a slice of toast, I think, on top of the other one. He was using it as a stand for that, really. And I said, oh, I may be interested in them, so he got them out. I've got a very slight rip on one of the fronts of these. Only slight, there it is there. It's really slight. You can probably just put a bit of glue on that and you wouldn't even notice it was there. But anyway, he said, make me an offer. So where'd you go, really? Like, it's hard to say, really. So I just plucked a figure out. I didn't really know. And this is where these speakers like this is quite nice to get a free edition, really. Probably pick up a free edition with these. I'll explain that as we go along. I paid him £20. I said, I'll give you 20. Expecting maybe go, give me 30. And you're on, or maybe you could quite easily said, no, that's far too low. We're miles apart. But anyway, 20 quid. He said, I'm happy with that. So that, being a shop, it's ours. You know what I mean? I do feel sorry for these shops. I know I've kind of bidded low there, but they've got all the overheads and all that. So it is hard work for them. Don't get me wrong. But he was happy enough with the £20 anyway. So I paid £20 for these, and like I say, these are a miniature kind of version of the Ditton 15s. It's got the same driver there, the same tweeter, the HF1300 1300. This here is actually out of, I'm led to believe, I'm almost certain anyway, going by all the pictures and everything else I've looked online and everything else. This is out the Ditton 44s. This is a mid-range in the Ditton 44s, but here being used as the actual driver. This is a 6-inch driver, and this is a passive radiator. When the Ditton 15s used to have an 8-inch driver here and an 8-inch passive driver here. These are 6-inch versions kind of thing. So that's a 6-inch passive driver. It's not connected up in any way. So we're going to have a little look inside and just go through the components here. There you go. There's the tweeter as we look inside, and there is the actual main driver there. A few pictures of the main driver and a quick picture of this quite small passive radiator. Not so chunky. It's a bit like the ones that are in the 15XRs. It's a thinner version than the actual drum kind of one that's in the 15s. So it's a smaller version. It hasn't got that kind of plastic drum kind of thing in there. And a quick look at the crossover there. I didn't bother taking a crossover, but the crossover looks very similar, I would have said, to the crossovers in the Ditton 15s. Can't really see much difference there at all. But I didn't bother taking it out. Maybe a different value capacitor or anything like that. But that gives you an idea. Now these are only rated at 20 watts. So be a bit careful if you're going to start connecting these up to an amplifier that's 100 watts or something like that and start cranking the volume up. This isn't probably going to be for you. This is maybe for someone who's got a valve amp or one of my low wattage amps, like 5 little watt, 10, 15 watt amp, something like that. Obviously you can use a 40 watt amp or something like that, or 50 watt amp on it or something like that, but keep the volume realistic, let's put it that way. Now, why did I say that these are a set of speakers that you can probably audition for nothing? Well, if I paid £20 and I looked on eBay literally a day ago, I think, probably still there, a bloke's got a set for £25 on there. It's been up there a few times and no one's even bidding on them, so you can quite easily pick them up, especially if you're local to him. You can go and pick them up, because I think he's charging 15 quid postage, which is the awkward bit there. But if you're fairly local to him, you could pop in and pick them up for him. So I don't think, for that kind of money, you're not going to come unstuck here, because even if I didn't like these, I'm going to be able to sell these on as in parts, which I like doing, really. I like trying to help other people out as well. You may say, well, Mick, you're doing it for a profit, obviously, but not always the case. Sometimes I lose them. It's better than me kind of like throwing these speakers away, putting them on skip. Now and again I give a set to a charity shop, some lowish grade ones I must admit, you know, but anything I can kind of recoup some of my money back to buy something else for the channel, that's going to be good for me. And in this particular case, I may make just a small amount of profit to help me with the channel. It won't be nothing fast because eBay take things out, you've got postage and all that. But these on eBay, these tweeters, they probably go for about £20, something like that. So if I sold it for £15, say just undercut it a little bit, I'm going to get, like after fees and everything else, say I'll get £10 for that. It's pretty much the same with the driver. That there goes for about 20, 25, sometimes £30, but we'll call that 20. So if I'm going 15, I'm going to get, after fees and everything else, £10 profit on both of them. So it's £20 there. Obviously I've got another speaker, that's £40. I've laid out 20. I've doubled my money there, which obviously I'll reinvest into something else. So if you picked up a pair for £25, £30, which is kind of what they're going for in some cases, like I say, a pair at the moment for 25 on eBay, if you was the only bidder, which I think you would be, because no one else's bidder has been relisted a few times, you're going to pick up a pair. And if you're willing to take them out and post them a little bit of work, I know you could get all your money back plus a little bit extra. Worst case scenario, if you did pay £50 for them, you're going to get most of your money back. If you just charge the going rate, you're probably definitely going to get all your money back. So you're going to get a free audition. And talking about auditions, how did these actually sound? Well, if we go over to the 15s, the original 15s I had, if you did look at that review, I'll kind of bring you up to speed on it kind of thing. I found them to sound a bit shouty. Now some people may like it, it's very lively kind of sound and a little bit on the shouty side. So that, you know, it's kind of screaming a little bit in places kind of thing, and great for vocals and that maybe, and some live bands, that kind of live music and all that kind of stuff, getting the feeling of it being live. But it wasn't really for me. It doesn't have that kind of sweetness to it, that kind of thing, you know, and the warmth to it that something I do like in a set of speakers as well. Also, I like the clarity, I like the space around the instruments and all that. So I'm pretty fussy really, and to get everything, it's going to be hard work obviously. But some speakers kind of I've got now kind of nearly fit the bill really. They're not a million miles away from everything. So if we start with this top end, the first thing you're going to notice about this top end is that it's quite bright. You're kind of going to be thinking, I've got the treble on a couple of notches too high kind of thing. So it's a little bit on the bright side of the top end, I would have said on these speakers. But one good thing is, it isn't the shouty, is nowhere near as shouty as the 15s in my opinion. Like I say, that was on the shouty side, these has tamed it right down. Can be a little bit shouty, a little bit, just a tad maybe, but you know, nowhere near as what them 15s are. These are a tamed down version of that. Vocals were good on here. Vocals are very good, quite nice. Vocals and that, like I say, the top end had quite a bit of detail to it. Now these only go up to 15 kilohertz, that's their kind of like specifications. So you would have thought it's going to be rolled off that top end, and I think this is maybe why this sounds a bit bright. Maybe they're increasing that to make it, to compensate for it being rolled off, if you know what I mean. Well, pardon me, they're kind of increasing that to give it sounding that's got more top end. But when getting the sweet spot on that and sitting directly, mainly in front of these speakers, like I say, they do sound a bit bright. Just come off axis a bit to one side or something, and that kind of like disappears a little bit, just helps it a bit. And also having these covers on, a lot of speakers I like having the covers off really, and some, you know, manufacturers these days say they're supposed to be on, they're supposed to be off, all that kind of stuff. And even though it's a little bit of cloth and it shouldn't really make any difference at all, I just think it just tames it down a fraction. You know, I'm not saying it gets rid of it, anything like that, but just helps that just a fraction, I think. So I prefer to have, at least I think it's going to help it a bit, let's put it that way. So I like to have these with the grills on if I'm going to listen to them. So that's that. Like I say, the mid-range was nice, the vocals was good on that, the strings, the piano, the trumpet, the sax, all sounded quite nice with these speakers because it's got that kind of like a tad shoutiness to it. It's just helping them kind of frequencies, and this is great. I put a few jazz tracks on that and they sounded fantastic, the jazz, because that top end is also, when you know, riding cymbals and giving that fine brushes and that, it's kind of emphasising it more. And it's not sounding so bright because it's in that kind of jazz environment kind of thing. It's sounding okay kind of thing. So it's sounding, jazz-wise, it's sounding quite nice. I quite like them. But saying that, the trumpets and all that, it's just had a little bit of leanness to it. Like you just wanted a bit more body, a bit more grit to it, a bit more timber to it. As I say in some of the other videos, you just wanted a bit of that because the bass is a little bit lacking. It's a small driver. It's doing the mid-range and the bass. It's quite a small driver like in other speakers, but obviously got a big cabinet here, so you think it would help. But it's a little bit lean on the bass. But some tracks it gets away with it. If you've got a track's bass heavy, where you've got an amplifier, it's going to put a decent amount of bottom end to it, quite a punchy bass amplifier as well. That's going to help it obviously. And if you've got a track where the bass is like, it is a bassy track and that, with a beat and all that, it kind of copes with it okay. It's just one of these tracks haven't got that, but there still should be some kind of bass there. It's kind of losing it, like you with me, it kind of loses it a bit. So these are a little bit lean on the bass, should we say, overall. It's a bit lean on the bass. There's not a lot of room around the instruments. When we go to the sound stage and that, there's not a lot of room around the instruments. They sound kind of intermingled. They kind of sound pretty close to each other, kind of thing. There's no real space. You know, as soon as you swap these speakers out, again, I go back to them Monitor Audio speakers. I got them B2s. You're going to hear the vast amount of difference there in the space around the instruments and all that. But they're not too bad. The imaging ain't fantastic. It was a little bit muddled here and there, loses its way sometimes. But other than that, it is quite a nice sounding speaker, really. Just lacking that, like I say, that warmth and that maybe. They're quite a clear sounding speaker, that's for certain. Where are we? Yeah, like I say, if you've got an amp that can give out a bit more bass, these are definitely going to help it. But there seems to be lacking some warmth and fullness to these, and body and some fullness to these speakers, and kind of go on that. How could we put it? Yeah, on that lean kind of sounding, sound-wise. But pump a few, turn the old volume up. These are quite, they're not bad. You know what I mean? I can quite easily listen to these. These are quite nice, but don't forget these are only 20 watts. There's something to bear in mind. A lot of these old speakers are only 30 watts, 15 watts. I've had some. They're not high wattage speakers as you would get today. That most kind of start around the 7500 watt kind of thing, and most people go out and buy an amplifier that would be 50 watts or something like that these days. But going back then, some of these amplifiers have got, like I say, range from 5 watts to 15 watts. These are going to be, fitting okay with them amplifiers. So all in all, this is not a bad set of speakers. You know what I mean? They're not bad. Let down maybe by some clarity, some positioning like the instruments and that, but fun sounding. They're quite fun sounding to a certain extent. Top end a little bit bright. Like I say, if you went to turn it down as well, I did muck about with the treble. Not that I like turning any of these controls either way. But it does tame it a bit, but you kind of lose out on other things there. It kind of makes the speaker a little bit duller, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I think you want to keep it. You definitely wouldn't want to be turning this up, let's put it that way, because it just starts sounding well over top end, like it's getting mushy. It doesn't sit well, it doesn't sound right. So you wouldn't be turning the treble up, that's for certain. You may be tempted just to turn it down a tad, but I still wouldn't advise that. I think pretty much keep it as it is. And just put up maybe with that top end just being a little bit bright, but it does, some music it does kind of like I wouldn't say help it, but it sounds okay. It sounds nice with some kind of music and some kind of tracks. So all in all, I won't put you off getting these. Are they better than the Ditton 15s? Them Ditton 15s, like it's got bigger, more oomph to the bass. It's got bigger drivers, more livelier kind of sound really than these. A bigger kind of sound than these. But all in all, I think if you've got the 15s, if you have got them 15s, I think it's well worth getting a pair of these, because they're going to kind of match with it. They look the same, little dinkier version. And you're just going to get them 15s with a little slightly different aspects and not so shouty on the sound, just tamed down a bit. So all in all, yeah, they're not too bad. They're not too bad. For what you're going to pay for it, don't go and start spending £100 and all that kind of thing for it. But if you pick up a pair locally or on eBay or something, £25, £30, you can have a little bit of fun with them. I think they're not too bad. They're not too bad at all, really. I'll sit back and still have them on at the moment. They're still wide up. I've just moved it from on top of here. It's on top of the stand actually, down the bottom there. So I've still got them on at the moment. I've still been listening to them and that. And some tracks sound quite nice as it happens. You know what I mean? So all in all, not a bad set of speakers. And speakers, like I say, if you're willing to take a few bits out, you can recoup your money if you didn't like them, because some of these are a nightmare to post. So all in all, yeah, they're okay. Until the next video, I'll say thanks for watching and I'll see you all soon.